This price chart right here is heading to all-time highs, and if you don't know what it is the DXY, and it's telling us the story of what's happening to silver in the market, what's happening to gold in the market, what's happening to copper currently in the market. And if you're not paying attention to the DXY, you're going to be missing the bigger picture. But this is actually driven by some other things that we'll talk about in today's video. And mainly, I would say it's the Middle East situation, which we'll have an update on right now as well. So if you guys enjoy these updates, make sure to like the video. And let's get straight into this one right now. So you can see the DXY is heading up. What this generally means in the market is the money is getting scared. It's getting so scared that it's liquidating all of its kind of risk on assets, and it's moving into US dollars because it says US dollars are the safest thing, even though you would know long-term US dollars are not safe at all. They get deflated away. There's inflation, and the purchasing power basically exponentially goes down in the long run. But you can see right here in the short term, this has crept up from 97 all the way up now to 101. And at the same time, we've had weakness come into the silver price. You can see it drop from about $90 back here at the start of May, all the way down to now $60. And silver is now sitting at a critical level. This is all driven by what's happening in the Middle East that we'll talk about soon. But this is actually one of the most critical levels for silver. So if you look at the technical chart for this, right? You can see $60, and it has touched it a few times previously right here. So back on here on the 11th of June, and then here we had a critical day on the 20th of March, and really that's it. So these two zones is where silver previously touched this $60 level. So really what it means is silver needs to hold. It needs to hold the line like a Helm's Deep, kind of like we got to hold on to this. Otherwise, if this risk off kind of sentiment comes into the market, it could be looking very volatile. But I would say as well, look, when there is lots of fear, like there is right now in the market with DXY rising, that's the time you should be researching and looking to potentially make moves, as Warren Buffett would say, because you don't want to be buying at the top and selling at the bottom. That's not how you make money in the in the space. And on that regard as well, before we talk about the Middle East and also gold, if we can find the SpaceX chart somewhere here as well. So SpaceX has really shot off the top as well. So I want to mention this. It had a monster rally to begin with, and you can see right here, it IPO'd at about 135 bucks. Raced all the way up to 225, but you can see right here a significant amount of, I would say, profit taking short term right here. And yesterday it actually bottomed out to about 145. So nearly getting down to its IPO level. And we'll see how that plays out. But that's one of the most speculative plays in the financial market. One of the biggest players right now, one of the world's biggest companies. Now, having said that, if we have a look at gold, guys, gold is also looking volatile in the short term. And again, driven out of the Middle East that we'll talk about soon. You've got $4,000 gold. And again, this is getting to a critical Helm's Deep. We have to huddle the line right here. So you can see it happened back on the 11th of June, $4,000 gold. And previously, how far did gold drop before that? So yes, there was a bit of support / resistance here back in November, and that's really it. So if it drops down again, you're looking at about 3950, and then after that, it goes down to like 3300 on the technical front for gold. So they are the historical technical levels playing out right now. Now, why is the market so sick? Why is it, got a fever? Why is it can't decide what it's doing? Some days it's pumping, a lot of the days it's dumping. And I honestly think it comes down to this Middle East situation. So this Middle East situation, to sum it up, we haven't even got closer to like a proper diplomatic resolution, right? You have two opposing regimes. They pretty much hate each other. America, is kind of lost in the wilderness to some degree. And, they're coming out with statements that are progressing nowhere. So you can see right here, Times of Israel, Rubio, Iran will not be allowed to charge tolls in Strait of Hormuz under any final deal. And the Iranians say they will, right? And you've also seen right here, contradicting Trump and Vance, Iran says no plan for IAEA inspections, asserts sovereignty at Hormuz. And look, the big picture I want to just get through to you is, you actually have, it's an interesting situation. So the big picture is this. The US went in for, the US and Israel went in for like an Iranian regime topple. This is many months ago. And they thought it was going to be easy. They thought it was going to be Iraq 2.0, basically getting rid of Saddam, caused chaos in the country, and, the country just fragments into the abyss. And it totally didn't happen. So it's completely backfired. And now you've got this kind of bunkered down, hardline Iranian regime that's actually come out to some degree stronger. And the US is left scratching its head on what to do next, because its typical strategy of just launching missiles and bombing, it just doesn't work. So you have these two countries, Israel and Iran, that just, hate each other. And you have the Strait of Hormuz, which is effectively the global, choke point of the economy. That's a hostage in this situation. And as a result of that, the whole entire global economy is a hostage as well. So that's the interconnectedness of this whole dilemma that we're in, because diplomacy hasn't really got anywhere. It's got really nowhere. There's still a lot of, conflict between both sides of the aisle. And a lot of the asset prices, they're just getting really scared. They don't really know what to do. You can see, South Korea, the AI market is starting to go down to some degree. And there's just a lot of uncertainty right now how this is going to play out. And people are trying to predict, exactly how this situation is going to play out. And it's very, very, very hard to predict right now. So, to sum it up, there's a lot of fog of war. The situation isn't fully under control at all. And, as a result of that, you're seeing a DXY climb, you're seeing a sell-off in some of the more speculative things like AI, and also to some degree gold and silver. Remember, gold and silver, this was supposed to kind of go reverse. So if you listen to the theories about gold and silver during tough times, economic crises, this is supposed to go up. So we know on this channel, if you've been a subscriber, it hasn't been playing out, right? So I have to be honest with you. It's been seen more as a hot asset to hold in a bubbling economy. And what do I mean by that? It just means it's a status quo economy where there's lots of money printing and the good times, so to speak, are rolling. But right now we still have like a real legitimate crisis on our hands with this Middle East situation, which, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. So diplomacy kind of failing, countries not seeing eye to eye. And as a result of that, anyone who has stocks or gold or silver kind of caught up in the crossfire to some degree. And we just have to see, let the storm play out. That's all we can do. We can't really control the situation. We can just analyze it. And but I would say, look, when the times are fearful, that's the time to be, looking out, because you can see right here, DXY obviously going to the moon, big fear factor, right? So money is rotating out of stocks. It's rotating out of speculative assets into DXY. And, the market is just doing what it's doing until we really figure out what's going to happen with this, Strait of Hormuz situation right here. So that is today's update, guys. The conflict is just dragging. But I will say, look, we're just going to have to see how the storm plays out. And that is today's update. Guys, if you got value out of this, guys, just like the video. It's a signal. I've got my dog yawning in the background. Hopefully he's not bored of these videos. He's having a bit of a snooze. But let me know if you got any value out of this, guys. Appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.